recommended start date. So you want the best offer to be made first to show good faith to the applicant, but you also want to be sure that you're discussing the entire compensation package, not just the salary. You could talk about paid time off, benefits. You could also discuss learning and development opportunities that might be good for the candidate's professional development or their goals. So sometimes, despite your best offer, you're still going to have applicants that decline the offer. And what you're going to want to do in this situation is to discuss with the candidate why they declined the offer. If the offer was declined due to salary, you can make a counter offer as long as it's within the appropriate guideline for the role in the department that the position is under. So after the hiring offers are extended, the hiring manager must then move the final selected candidates to the hire folder in the applicant tracking system, which is what we use to track the candidates during the hiring process. So then the hiring manager is going to confirm the official start date with the selected candidate, and this cannot be done until a favorable background check has been received and processed by the Human Resource Department. So this is the part that no one really likes to do or to receive, but it is necessary, and that is to send the rejection emails to the candidates that were not selected, and this is generated through the applicant tracking system, but it needs to be sent after the official start date has been confirmed with the candidate that was selected. So the hiring manager is responsible for contacting the new hire and directing them to the Human Resources Department with the appropriate identification. And this is to complete any required pre-employment paperwork, and examples of this can be background authorization or a disclosure form if the position requires a lot of confidentiality. So we previously discussed when a verbal offer is made, but that is long before the hiring manager will actually send out the official offer letter to the candidate that has been selected. And again, this is generated by the applicant tracking system and is contingent upon a favorable background check and drug screening as appropriate. So in order for HR to fully integrate the newly hired candidate into their systems, the hiring manager must process the applicant tracking system to activate the new employee in the HR database once the offer has been officially accepted. So closing out the requisition. Upon notification of the recruitment being closed, the hiring manager will then go back into the applicant tracking system and close out the requisition that was initially created when they were actively hiring for the position. So to recap, we discussed ranking, which forms the selection matrix, consulting with your appropriate leadership before the final selection, reference checks to obtain outside information about the candidate, reviewing the selection process, the offer process of extending, negotiating, and counter offers, and closing out the requisition in the applicant tracking system. So this has been our presentation on hiring policies, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right. Well done. Very well done. Todd, I thought you had a nice split of the intro. I thought, aren't you going to put the other two people up there? But that gave you the opportunity to say more. And I'm going to suggest that to my other classes now, because they usually put 7 people on there and you can't get through them and give an appropriate introduction. So it's good. You were well prepared. Your voice was very soothing, I thought. And you kind of, you know, it was a lead-off batter sort of thing. You were really able to come out here and get the confidence, I think, of the group. It was well done. Krista, the ATS, it's an excellent overview as you talked about this being part of the staffing guide. So you brought that into play, I liked. And then you talked about snag a job. I think that was great that you talked about how you put your name out there and they found you. So, I mean, that can work both directions. That was good. What did I say? Good reviews. Oh, good reviews of the systems that you were talking about. Excellent. Dan, internal versus external. I liked your example of what's the problem with internal is that when I was at Whole Foods, everybody becomes so competitive.
It got really nasty.
Yeah, I mean, that really jumped out at me. I like that. And then, did you have the no tables
Yeah.
with the table?
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I mean, right? And it was a great slide. It's a picnic tables and no tables on it. I like it. Brandon, you had a quote in there that said, "You can't find something if you don't know what you're looking for." You remember the Cheshire Cat on Alice in Wonderland? The famous quote. Alice said, "What road should I take?" He said, "Where you going?" "I don't know." He says, "Well, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there." I'm sure I quoted it wrong. Great slides again, smooth. You came across as very trustworthy. And I liked your point on contacting all applicants. That's very important. If you've ever been an applicant for a job and they never get back to you, that really sucks. Tips for your phone interviews: dress up, stand up, smile on both sides of the phone interview. It's important. And you and I were talking about your new question. What would a third baseman, third string say about you? I'm going to use that example because it was pretty cool. Or your best friend, right? I think you got both of those. Courtney, I like how you introduced it. So, step 6, select, notify, and document. Somehow that just came across as very clear as exactly what you were going to talk about. Not somehow. That's what you meant it to do, right? Everybody walked well. You were anchored. You dressed very nice. I loved your picture of Neo and the Matrix, the selection matrix. I know, I mean, that was yours, but I might use that. Reference checks after offer. You're very well prepared. I noticed, though, that the two guys shaking hands were using their left hand, right?
I noticed that in the room. It was weird.
It was an image reverse, I think, but no problem. It's just funny. Thank you, guys. That's it. I'll reopen that quiz and see you on Thursday. We're done presenting, right? Anybody want to present again?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do. Can we do one on? Hold on, give me a second.
Pechakucha. You know what I need? I've always thought about doing that to introduce it, and I've just never done it. It's like I asked